actually we have two chapters in NCERT. One is plant kingdom and the next one is animal kingdom. I thought of discussing animal kingdom first, and in this video I'm going to discuss some basic concepts in animal kingdom. And like there are million species of animals present in this world, and those animals are classified into different phylums. So they are classified according to basis of some criteria, and the basic criteria is arrangement of cells, body symmetry, nature of coelom, and the presence of digestive system, circulatory system, and reproductive system, and the way in which they are arranged. And the first criteria is arrangement of cells. Arrangement of cells is also known as organization of cells. And the first type is loose cell aggregates, cellular level. And in this cellular level, animals don't have organs or organ system. Cells perform the functions of digestion, reproduction, and circulatory system. And the basic example of cellular level type of animal is sponges. The next thing is tissue level. As these are basic concepts, you all know combination of cells makes tissues, and here in tissue level, tissues perform the basic functions, and the example of tissue level is cell and traits. Organ level is nothing but combination of tissues makes an organ, and organ performs the basic functions of body. And platyhelminthes is the example of organ level. The next thing is organ system level. Organ system level is also nothing but combination of organs make an organ system, and here we have many types of organ systems, and each organ system perform a specific physiological function. The examples of organ system level is annelids, arthropods, mollusks, echinoderms, and chordates. Platyhelminthes the next thing is actually animals which have a single opening for intake of food and double opening for intake of food. Actually, animals which have single opening is called incomplete animals, because both intake and outlet will happen through single opening. Here, like mouth and anus is present in same side with a single opening. And for example of incomplete animals is platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes have only one opening for mouth and anus. The next thing is complete animal. Complete animals have two openings. They have a separate opening for mouth and anus. Mouth has a separate opening and anus has a separate opening. They both doesn't work on the same side with a single opening. And all other animals except platyhelminthes or which will come under complete animals. The next thing we are going to say is circulatory system. In circulatory system we have open circulatory system and closed circulatory system. Open circulatory system is nothing but blood from heart is directly pumped into cells and tissues. It don't have veins, capillaries, and arteries as like us. We have closed circulatory system, and so you'll get to know what is you could have already guessed what is closed circulatory system. Closed circulatory system is nothing but blood circulated through various series of vessels. It don't directly pump into cells. It goes through series of vessels, and those vessels are arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries and veins and capillaries, they'll carry the blood in our body. The next thing is symmetry. Symmetry is nothing but the arrangement of our body is known as symmetry. Some animals cannot be divided into two halves in any manner. Either they can't be divided into left or right or up and down. You couldn't divide an animal ventrally and both laterally. So those animals which doesn't divide both in longitudinal and latitudinal version is called sponges, and they are asymmetry. Sponges are asymmetry because you couldn't divide it into two halves. Radial is nothing but radial is dividing in an animal in any plane, and you will get two equal halves. It's not like you should have divided only in the longitudinal position. You could not do it in the latitudinal position. is not in radial symmetry. In radial symmetry, you can divide the animal in any plane, both in longitudinal, latitudinal or any plane, and you will get two equal halves. Example of radial symmetry is coelentrates, ctenophores and echinoderm. And next thing is bilateral. In bilateral, you can divide only in one plane, a single plane. That will give you left and right halves of animal. And bilateral example of bilateral symmetry is annelids and arthropods. The next thing we are going to see is embryonic layers. Based on the presence of embryonic layers, animal is divided into triploblastic and diploblastic. In diploblastic, there are two embryonic layers. The outer is ecto and inner is endoderm. Coelentrates are the examples of diploblastic animals. And in between ectoderm and endoderm, mesoglia is present in diploblastic animals. The next thing is triploblastic. In triploblastic, we have three embryonic layers: outer ecto, inner endo, and in the middle we have mesoderm. Platyhelminthes to chordates, all these like from platyhelminthes till chordates we have triploblastic. We have diploblastic for coelentrates, and after coelentrates for platyhelminthes, ascalminthus, annelida, arthropoda, mollusca, echinodermata, hemichordata and chordata all have triploblastic. And next we are coming to the criteria of coelom, like presence or absence of cavity between body wall and gut wall is known as coelom. Body wall is present and gut wall is present. In between those two layers, sometimes we have cavity, and those animals which have cavity are called coelomates. Sometimes we don't have cavities, so that time we'll call it as acoelomate. Examples of coelomates is annelids, mollusca, arthropoda, hemichordata, echinodermata, chordata. And like this cavity is like made up of they contain mesodermal cells. In coelomates, cavity contains mesodermal cells. And we have another criteria like we have another classification like pseudocoelom, in which only ascalminthus are fitted in. In pseudocoelom, we don't have mesoderm in the body cavity. We have mesoderm in the form of scattered pouches. We don't have it in the form of complete manner, but we still have it in the form of scattered pouches. So those animals are called like those animals in which mesoderm is present in the form of scattered pouches is called pseudocoelom. And the best example of pseudocoelom is ascalminthus. And the last thing is acoelomates. They doesn't even have body cavity. There will be no space between the body wall and the gut wall. And examples of acoelomates is platyhelminthes. The next thing is segmentation. And like when you take an animal, animals are sometimes externally or internally segmented. For example, earthworm. In earthworms, you will be like seeing like the body is completely segmented. You have ring-like structures to segment the body, and this type of segmentation is known as metameric segmentation, and the phenomenon is known as metamerism. The last type of criteria is notochord. Notochord is a mesodermally derived organ which is in the shape of rod-like structure, and it is present on the dorsal side. If notochord is not present, those animals are called non-chordates. If notochord is present, those animals are chordates. And in non-chordates, we have porifera, coelentrata, ctenophora, platyhelminthes, ascalminthus, annelida, arthropoda, mollusca, echinodermata and hemichordata. These all comes under non-chordates because they doesn't have notochords in their body. Notochord is nothing but it's a rod-like structure which is present on the dorsal side of body, and the rod-like structure is mesodermally derived. That's notochord. And we human beings have notochord, and we have a specialized notochord known as vertebral column. So we come under chordates, I guess. We come under chordates. It's not I guess. We come under chordates. So in the next video, I'll discuss about I'll discuss briefly about all those phylums, Porifera, Coelentata, Ctenophora, those all like, and you'll have to remember the order in which the phylum is classified, like from Porifera till Hemichordata you have a order. So do remember it. It can be useful for you in times of like it can be useful for you in times of any competitive exam or any questions, or it will make you learn easily this like you can classify the organisms easily if you are thorough with the order. Don't try to memorize everything without even understanding it. Understand everything and you can remember the order if you are thorough with the classification. So I'll get you back in the next video. Bye.